Okay, folks, we're doing a post-burn evaluation of our site prep burn that we did yesterday. We got a really good burn, but I always like to do an evaluation of the burn the day after, take a look at the site. We always like to check to make sure nothing's happened overnight, like a snag catching on fire or falling across the line or something. So we're out here today, and um, you know, I like to look at the things that could have been done better, the things that went right that I like to happen again. So I want to repeat those in the future. And so we came out here, I don't know, it was maybe a week or so ago. We put in the fire lanes here, good fire lanes. The problem we had was down there, actually where I've got a video of that snag that caught fire. We had about 5 big oak trees that came off of the adjacent timber company blowing down onto us. And when we got to that point last week, we didn't have a chainsaw. So we thought, well, I didn't see but a couple of trees, wasn't really worried about it. So yesterday morning, we were out here with a chainsaw and tractor trying to clear that off. Complicate that with the fact that it's a little bit marshy down in there. This whole area is, there are some true wetlands in here, wetland soils. There's no water standing right now, but there's some moist areas. And so you could stick the tractor if you're not careful and you play around too much in one spot. So we ended up yesterday morning, we didn't start lighting, I think, until I think it was around 12:30 or so. And that's because we had to finish that fire line. And it took longer than expected. So looking at that, I would say in the future, we need to make sure we got a chainsaw on the truck so we can finish fire lines. I mean, that's just a little check marks on a little box there for me to remember that. And the other thing that happened was we had 2 different snags that caught on fire across the line, which is something that I know about. I've been burning since 1994. I got enough sense to know that any snags, you could have a spark fly up. It doesn't take much of an ember to fly up and catch the top of that snag and start a fire. When you get dead wood and decaying wood, it's punky wood. It's highly susceptible to catching a spark, and it may burn for a week. Down through that tree. So you should clear out snags on either side of the line. Certainly the ones on this side of the line you want to clear out, which we did. But the ones on the other side you also need to do, and we failed to do that. And in a bottomland hardwood situation, you've got a fair amount of those types of trees. And I didn't really even think much about it until that one caught on fire down here. And then we had a headache, and we were going to try to put a fire break around it, and that didn't work because it was right in the middle of all those blown down trees. There was about 6 or 8 big oak trees that we had to cut through. So we ended up having to, and I got a video of it that I've posted, cut that tree down, push it across the line with a front end loader on the tractor, and then spray that out. But so that's another thing that sometimes it happens, but it could have been prevented had I thought about it. And so that'll definitely be in my mind in the future. Where we've been burning before and burned many times, we don't have a lot of snags, but in this case, it's the first time this has been burned. We're putting it back into hardwood, so we won't be burning it again. But anyway, we had to get a site prep burn done. So the other thing that happened yesterday is that we were forecast for a southeast wind, which there's the southeast corner of our this block. We own up through there and to the left, and this is our line right there and over here. And this plantation is actually on our neighbor. It's a timber company, so that was a very high risk area. So I was very concerned about that. Wanted to make sure that did not get fire in it. Yesterday, when we started burning, we didn't actually have our forecast winds. We had a north wind coming from that direction going this way. So we started down here and lit the fire and got all the way up to about right here, and it was basically backing away from the, the flames were going that way, and they were backing slowly, the fire was backing slowly into this. Then we got our southeast wind, and it shifted, and you saw what it did. It rolled across here really well and burned very, very well. Happy with that. We've got a large creek over here, probably 30 foot across, and here is a 10-foot creek. That's our property on the other side of the creek, so even if it jumped, we're still good. And that's what happened. In addition to this snag that caught over here, we got that taken care of, and we went around and found that another snag right across the creek where I was filming yesterday, there was another snag that caught a spark, and we had a little area that burned. It wasn't a whole lot, maybe an acre or so. It was bounded on two sides by the creeks and another side by the slough, and I think I had to rake maybe 50 feet or something with a hand rake to get it out. So it all worked out okay, and I think it would have gone out last night anyway. I just didn't want to risk it. We did find another snag that was right over here, and it was just long enough to cross the creek, but it was engulfed in flames, and we didn't feel like it was safe to put a chainsaw in it. So what we did was we were on the opposite side of the creek, took a hand rake and raked all the leaves off the bank where it was going to fall, and then my land partner took the water tank and wet down the area. And sure enough, this morning it had fallen exactly where we figured it was going to fall, but it was an area void of leaves, so it didn't go anywhere. And we did, of course, come out this morning to check everything, and so. Anyway, just wanted to do a quick post-burn evaluation, kind of give everybody my thoughts on what went right, what went wrong, and maybe you can learn from this experience too. The thing is, we knew better than to ignore snags, and just didn't think about it with all the other things. We were behind schedule on finishing the fire break, so see, it tells you right there, don't pressure yourself for time. And don't count on the exact winds you're supposed to get, and they may change, especially with a south or east wind. That's definitely a something that you got to be real careful of, unless you've got a steady, a stronger south or east wind. Sometimes those are more reliable, but something that says 5 miles an hour like we had yesterday, it could shift, and we understood that. But again, as long as we got it backed off this line, and get away from this danger zone, which is this, we were going to be fine. And you'll notice we had a pile burning right here. Our regular fire break goes right down through there. And before we left last night, I came over onto the timber company. They've got an old road bed going down through there, just to the edge of the pines. And I put a second fire break. So we had a double fire break between the pile and those pines, just in case. And it didn't cross, but I just wanted to be safe. Anyway, so thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit about this, and I'm real pleased. I couldn't be more pleased with the quality of the burn we got right here. So I'm just really happy with it. I probably will come in with, I've got a tractor with a front blade on it, and I'll probably push some of these piles up a little bit more, and we'll probably, if we get another south or east wind, we'll probably light them again before they do the tree planting, try to burn them up a little bit more. But other than that, I think we're really well off. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more management videos.